We're going to take a look at how you can prepare data in Tableau. So Tableau do have certain functions that can support you to prepare your data within Tableau. For example, you can do some pivot, you can split data, you can merge data as well. But personally, I would still recommend you to get your data prepared before loading them into Tableau, because really Tableau's best functions are for visualization. You can actually prepare your data using Excel or R or maybe Python when you're trying to do some data cleaning, data merging, and etc. Those kind of tools will be much easier to use when it comes to data preparation. So once you get your data ready, you can load them into Tableau for visualization. So let's see what are some functions that Tableau has regarding the data preparation. So let's use the survey data set as our example. And let's use survey data set 1 in here as our example data set. So the first function I want to introduce is a pivot function. The pivot function will allow you to turn multiple columns into 2 columns. So right now, if you look at our survey data set 1, it has the participant ID, location, weight, mother's height, father's height, and also their own height in different years. Let's say if you want to merge the different years' height into all together, we could actually do that through the pivot function, and this will create 2 different columns for you. For one, it will be your year, and the second one will be the height in that year. So let's see how we can do that. We can simply press the Shift key on your keyboard and choose the different height in different years. And then we can right-click and choose Pivot. And this will generate 2 new columns that combines like the different years of the height, and you can actually rename them into different years. So the first one will be year, and then the second one we can rename it as height. And now you can see that the height for 2010 for participant ID 1001 is now listed next to the PID in here, and then it creates multiple columns. So for each column, it records the height for a different year. So this is about the pivot function. The next one I want to show you is a splitting data function. So for example, this can help you to split text files. It's kind of similar to the Excel function of from text to columns. So let's see if you're trying to split your location. So right now your location has the city, the state, and also the zip code. If you want to split them into multiple columns, we could actually use the default split function in Tableau. So you can right-click on the location and choose Split. So this is a default way to split your data. So apparently it's using the comma in here as the separator. So you can rename the first one into, you can rename it as city. And if you want, you can actually hide the original column. So besides the automatic split, you can also do custom split on your own as well. So you can right-click again and choose custom split. So this will allow you to choose your own separator. And you can also choose like if you're trying to split all, or are you only going to keep like the first or like last several columns. So let's say if you're using the space as our separator and we are going to keep only the first column, let's see what will happen. So now you'll see that it will only split 1 column for you and keep only the first part, which is the state. So we can rename this and put in state for it. So you can play with the custom splitting function on your own and try to see when you change different separators, when you change different options for the columns, how would it change the result for your splitting. So you can play with it. You can pause my video and then play with it and then resume the video. So the next function I want to show you is how do you merge different data sets. So in here we have, in this survey data set Excel file, we have 3 different data sheets, and survey data set 1 is about the participants' height and weight, and survey data set 2 is about the participants' eating habit. So let's say if you want to merge these 2 data sets together to create a combined data set, how can you do that? So what we can do is that we can double click on the survey data set 1, and then we can drag survey data set 2 next to next to survey data set 1. So in this way, you can actually merge, or what we call join, survey data 1 with survey data 2. So it's automatically joined based on the same column it has, which is the PID. So of course, if you want to manually change it, you can also do that. So you can double click on this circle in here, and then when you see like the join, you can choose it to be like an inner join, a left join, a right join, or a full join. So inner join means that you're keeping all the only the records that that both data set has, and then for full outer, it means that you're keeping all the records in here, even if they don't have a matching record in the other table. So you can play a little bit with different type of joins. So this is the same thing as your database, as what you have learned in your database class, like the left join, like the outer join, things like that. So in here, you can also change like the columns that you want to do the join for. So right now, if you're using the PID for the join, because this is our matching record, if you have different columns that you're using for the join, then you can actually change them in here. So the next one I want to show you is to append data. So let me show you the data set actually. So if you look at our survey data set Excel file, you will see that for survey data set 2, we have the participant ID and also their eating habit. And in survey data set 3, we also have some participants with their eating habit. So apparently, survey data set 3 is an extension of survey data set 2. And if you want to append survey data set 3 to after survey data set 2, Tableau actually allows you to do that. So what you can do is that you can drag survey data set 3 below survey data set 2 until you see a drag table to unite, and then if we put it down here, you will see that your survey data set 2 and survey data set 3 has been linked together, which actually increase the number of records in your whole data set. And then the last one I want to share with you is that if you're trying to merge data that are not in the same Excel file, let's say if you're trying to merge two different CSV files, how can we do that? So let's go back to the main menu and let's load one of the CSV file we have in here. So let's choose survey data set 1 CSV file. So in here, you will see that once you load the CSV file, it will also load the other text file or CSV file in that same folder. So if you're trying to, let's say, merge or join the survey data set 1 CSV file with the survey data set 2 CSV file, you can drag survey data set 2 CSV file. Oh, sorry, you have to double click here first, which will allow you to join two different table. And then you can drag it here to connect the two table. Or instead of using the default instead of using the tables in here, let's say if your other CSV file is in a different location and doesn't show up in here, what you can do is that you can click the add and then choose TXT file and then identify where you have stored the other CSV file, load it, and then you see that now it's showing up in here. You can double check to make sure that the merge is joining the two tables correctly.